Nancy Jane Kulp was an American actress, writer, and comedian who carved a niche for herself in the golden age of television. She is best known and almost synonymous with her legendary role as Miss Jane Hathaway, the earnest secretary, passionate birdwatcher, and chronic bachelor on the CBS television series The Beverly Hillbillies, 1962 to 1971. With her sharp wit, tall demeanor, and subtle comedic flair, Kulp turned the supporting role into a cultural icon, even earning her a prestigious Emmy Award nomination in 1967. However, a personal secret and seemingly impossible relationship between Kulp, a woman considered the epitome of a reserved intellectual, and Red Foxx, the comedian known for his brash style in Sanford and Son, was kept secret for decades. What drove this unexpected but profound relationship to remain hidden beyond the usual explanation of privacy? Was the secrecy simply a result of their being an interracial couple in an era when such relationships were often fiercely criticized? Or was there something deeper hidden in the star's glamorous but often shadowy life, related to the pressure to maintain a harmless, single-girl image while she struggled with her own identity and sexuality? Let's dig into the exact truth of this fateful event, peeling back the layers of tragedy to better understand the talented but ill-fated artist. Nancy Jane Kulp was born on August 28, 1921, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She was the only child of Robert Tilden, a traveling salesman, and Marjorie C. Kulp, a teacher who later became a principal. The family moved from Mifflintown, Pennsylvania, to Miami, Florida, sometime before 1935. Kulp was described as a bright and driven student from an early age. With a keen intellect and ambition, Kulp pursued an impressive academic career. She graduated with a BA in journalism in 1943 from Florida State College for Women, now Florida State University. She then went on to pursue a MA in English and French at the University of Miami. Kulp initially turned her attention to journalism, working as a columnist for the Miami Beach Tropics in the early 1940s, writing profiles of celebrities such as Clark Gable. Kulp's big break came in 1944, during World War II, when she put her media career on hold to join the United States Naval Reserve. She served with distinction, reaching the rank of ensign, and was awarded several medals, including the American Campaign Medal. She was honorably discharged in 1946. Her military experience instilled in her a strong sense of discipline, leadership, and lifelong commitment to public service and civic duty. In 1951, shortly after marrying Charles Malcolm Dacus, Kulp moved to Hollywood, California, to work in the public relations department of MGM. It was at this studio that director George Cukor recognized her potential and convinced her to become an actress. Also in 1951, Kulp made her film debut with a character role in The Model and the Marriage Broker. Nancy Kulp's acting career spanned nearly 4 decades, from 1951 to 1989. With her distinctive voice, tall stature, and unique demeanor, she was quickly cast for character roles, often as single women, secretaries, or eccentric characters. Kulp appeared in many classic films, including Shane, 1953, Sabrina, 1954, and A Star is Born, 1954. She also appeared in The Parent Trap, 1961, and voiced Frou-Frou in the animated film The Aristocats, 1970. On the small screen, Kulp was a familiar face. She appeared on The Bob Cummings Show, 1955 and 1959, as Pamela Livingston, an avid birdwatcher. She also appeared in I Love Lucy, 1956, as the English maid who teaches Lucy and Ethel how to bow. Kulp also appeared in Perry Mason, The Jack Benny Program, and The Twilight Zone as Mrs. Gann. In 1962, Kulp landed her breakthrough role as Jane Hathaway on The Beverly Hillbillies. Jane Hathaway was a highly educated, love-hungry single woman who worked as a devoted secretary to banker Milbourne Drysdale. Kulp played the role brilliantly, striking a balance between her rigid professionalism and her secret romantic desires, especially her unrequited feelings for Jethro Bodine. Her deadpan reactions, dignified demeanor, and somewhat eccentric body language made her a fan favorite and unforgettable character. The role cemented the show's success and earned Kulp a 1967 Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. She remained in the role for 246 episodes until the show ended in 1971. Kulp continued to work afterward, appearing in Sanford and Son and The Love Boat. Kulp married Charles Malcolm Dacus on April 1, 1951, in Dade County, Florida. The marriage lasted about a decade and ended in divorce in 1961. The breakup coincided with the start of her television career. After the divorce, Kulp remained single, focusing all her time and energy on work, public service, and philanthropy. Behind the professionalism and serious image of Miss Hathaway was a woman struggling with her personal identity and deep political conflicts. Kulp's life is typical of the sharp contrast between public achievement and private tragedy. Nancy Kulp attempted to convert her acting fame into political influence. In 1984, Kulp ran for the United States House of Representatives in Pennsylvania's 9th Congressional District as a Democratic candidate. She was an underdog against incumbent Republican Bud Shuster. Kulp lost, winning just 33.6% of the vote. Toward the end of her life, Kulp was a heavy smoker. She was diagnosed with cancer in 1990 and underwent chemotherapy. Her condition worsened rapidly as the cancer metastasized in 1991. She died on February 3, 1991, at the age of 69 in Palm Desert, California. The contrast between personal fame and tragedy revolves around two major truths that explain why her relationship with Redd Foxx had to be kept private. Kulp kept her personal life private after her divorce. In an interview with author and LGBT activist Bose Hadley, Kulp used metaphors to confirm her sexual orientation. When Hadley asked her if she was gay, Kulp suggested asking herself, "Do you think opposites attract?" and answering, "I'm the opposite. I find that birds of a feather flock together." Having to live in the closet and hide her identity during that period was a silent tragedy, as her true self contradicted the humorous single-girl image the public had built. Nancy Kulp and Redd Foxx, whose public images were diametrically opposed. Kulp was an intellectual, a military veteran, and reserved. Foxx was a comedian known for his loose, raw comedy style. Shared a deep bond. They met at a charity event in the late 1960s. The secrecy of their relationship with Foxx illustrates the dual pressures Kulp faced in society. The most important reason for the secrecy was that they were an interracial couple in an era when such relationships were often violently frowned upon. Although both were influential public figures, they faced heavy scrutiny and judgment from society. Despite their differences in comedic styles, they connected on a deep intellectual level. Both were passionate about civil rights and unafraid to challenge social expectations in their private lives. Kulp needed to maintain privacy because of her personal identity, while Foxx needed to maintain privacy because her public image was complicated by multiple marriages and personal struggles. The relationship may have been romantic or just a genuine meeting of minds, but it represented a darker truth, one that demanded protection from public judgment. Much darker and more disturbing than anyone expected was the actions of his colleague Buddy Ebsen, Jed Clampett, during the 1984 campaign. Ebsen, a staunch Republican, contacted his opponent Bud Shuster's campaign and volunteered to do radio ads, calling Kulp too liberal. Kulp and Ebsen had a frosty relationship on set because of their deep political differences. Kulp bitterly remarked that Ebsen wasn't the nice Jed Clampett you see on the show and should have stayed out of it. The event showed the brutality of political polarization, where collegial solidarity was broken and Kulp's reputation was weaponized by the very person she worked with. Ebsen's political defeat and betrayal were personal blows. Kulp subsequently labeled Ebsen persona non grata and asked her friends not to mention him. Kulp completely stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight. She worked as a resident artist and acting instructor at Juniata College, a private liberal arts college in Huntington, Pennsylvania, sharing her acting expertise with young actors. After fully retiring, Kulp moved to a farm in Connecticut in search of quiet, then moved to Palm Springs, California, where she devoted herself to charitable work, including the Desert Animal Protection Society, the Desert Theater League, and the Cerebral Palsy Foundation of America. Her post-Hollywood life was marked by purpose, service, and enduring generosity. Nancy Kulp's tragedy is one of suppressed authenticity. Her successful career relied on maintaining a strict image, while her personal life was much more complicated, requiring concealment of her sexuality and relationships, like with Redd Foxx, to avoid racial and social judgment. Political events exposed the ruthlessness of the entertainment industry in dealing with ideological differences, which left her deeply traumatized. Kulp's tragedy stems from the sharp clash between her multifaceted identity, intellectual, ex-military, liberal, closeted lesbian, and the stereotyped public image of the single girl who was not controversial. Hollywood in the 1960s-1970s was a highly censored environment. Kulp's struggle to keep her identity a secret as a lesbian or bisexual woman is a deeply personal tragedy, reflecting her fear of losing her career and social acceptance. The relationship with Redd Foxx is a symbol of defiance, but the fact that it had to be kept secret is evidence of how strong racism still is in the entertainment industry. They could not go public without facing violent opposition. The need to protect this genuine relationship forced Kulp to continue to maintain her wall of privacy. The political defeat of 1984 was not just a failure of a campaign, but a failure of an ideal. The fact that Buddy Ebsen, her on-screen colleague, publicly used Kulp's too liberal political views against her showed the ethical limits of professional relationships when opposing ideologies prevailed. This was the act that most deeply wounded Kulp, leading to her withdrawal from Hollywood. Nancy Kulp's personal and social tragedy culminated in 1984. Her attempt to be authentic and give back publicly, by running for office, was betrayed and weaponized by her former star, Ebsen, representing the Beverly Hillbillies. This failure shattered her belief in using her fame to serve the public. The revelation of her sexual orientation and interracial relationship with Redd Foxx was far more tragic than the public image she had built. It revealed that the woman whom the public thought was single and without a complicated love life lived in a constant state of performance, keeping the core aspects of herself hidden to protect her career and her most genuine relationships. Kulp's tragedy is that of a brave soul and intellect held back by social prejudice. The primary responsibility lies with the social framework that placed such heavy pressure on Kulp. The Hollywood system and popular culture of the time forced her to choose between her career and her identity. However, Buddy Ebsen was responsible for the specific actions that hurt and hindered Kulp's public career by publicly criticizing her political views. Ebsen's actions were not just about political differences, but also about betraying the trust of colleagues. Nancy Kulp's tragedy is a warning about the cost of concealing one's identity and the devastation that political polarization can cause in personal relationships. Her story underscores the importance of resilience. Kulp, after a bitter defeat, did not retreat, but found new meaning in community service, teaching, and philanthropy. She redefined personal success outside the spotlight. The story of Kulp's secret relationship with Redd Foxx, along with the truth about her sexuality, reflects the ongoing struggle of diverse individuals to find acceptance and truth in public. It raises questions about how society continues to impose gender and racial stereotypes on celebrities, and how the most genuine connections often exist in the shadows. Nancy Kulp, a woman who served her country in the military, was not allowed to live her life openly in peacetime. Kulp's truth is complicated. She was a closeted lesbian who had a secret intellectual romantic relationship with a man of different race, while the public only saw the single, bird-loving Miss Hathaway. Accepting this truth requires readers to look beyond the media-driven image and see Kulp as a multifaceted individual whose deep personal struggles far outweighed her on-screen persona. Nancy Kulp left behind a multifaceted legacy. She was not only the eternal Miss Jane Hathaway, the witty screen personality who was nominated for an Emmy. She was also a courageous Navy ensign, a sharp journalist, a dedicated educator, and a staunch philanthropist. Her life is a testament to her intellect and resilience, but also a poignant reminder of the price of image control, the private tragedy of personal identity, and the bitterness of professional betrayal. Her tragic need to hide her personal identity and an interracial relationship, coupled with her public political betrayal, shows that even the most successful stars cannot escape the grip of social prejudice and ideological polarization. What questions does the story of Nancy Kulp, a resilient woman who had to keep her sexuality and relationship with Redd Foxx a secret, failed in politics, and faced death, raise about how we define success and authenticity for celebrities? Do you think Hollywood and modern society have truly learned the lesson of tolerance and acceptance in allowing celebrities to live their lives openly? Or does the pressure to maintain a perfect image continue to force them to hide core aspects of themselves?